Hey guys, it's Beth Murphy here. How are you? I still have a little cold, but I'm okay. And I want to, every time I think I learn something, I automatically want to share it. So you'll forgive me if you already know this, but there was a time when I didn't. So that means other people are out there not knowing this. And what's funny is, now, I don't know if I don't really want to call it, I don't want to call it a temper. Temper's too strong of a word. It's like, I call it hot, like when you get hot. You know what I mean? Your blood rushes and you're ready to pounce on someone. I'm laughing. It's funny, but it's not funny. Now, I'm not talking about people I love, like my family or my husband or anything like that. You know what usually gets my blood boiling? It'll be something like with a tenant, because we have houses that we rent out. And then if you have properties, you also need to rely on contractors. And no offense to contractors, but sometimes it can, there's just room for misconceptions or all kinds of things. Okay, so my Mr. Sensor Thinky and I, Mr. Sensor Thinky, and this is also a topic of a lot of my videos, because this part right here is so polarizing for us, that I like to talk about, whatever I've learned to help he and I have better communication. And that happens near constant. Near constant, I'm trying to work on that, because I feel like one of us knows what's up and the other one doesn't, and the one that knows what's up is obviously me. But anyway, back to the contractor. So because Mr. Sensor Thinky and I have had a lifetime of contractors, he already kind of has his backup about it. And I do too, it's just kind of my way. Like, I prepare for everything, but I have good hopes. Like, I have, that is part of our nature, that we have this positivity. And yet I'm also like ready to pounce if things don't go the way I thought they were going to go, because I have thought in all different directions about everything already. And I think you can relate. Now, you may not have the same reactions to me. You may be a softer, gentler person. You had a different past, and you're just a different person, raised by different family members. So you may be different, but you may be relating to what I'm saying. Like, I've already thought all the thoughts that could be thought. So sometimes when something goes wrong, I tend to just, so let me just get to the example right now. So, contractor. Yeah. Now, we've hired him before. I kind of got a read on him because I met him physically. So I don't know about you, but I don't call myself psychic, but I'll say I'm reading somebody. I'm reading them. And the information doesn't feel like it's always available to me either. When I first meet somebody, that's when I can get like a read on them, because there's not my ego involved. I've not had any interaction with this person before. It's just there. Now, technically, I should be able to do the same thing, whether I've known them a long time or not. But I do get my little bit of ego in there, like, do they like me? Why did they say that? Is it because of that time this thing happened? The longer you meet someone, the more it gets colored. And that's why all psychics don't get the same information, by the way, in case you hadn't thought of that. So I read people when I first meet them, and kind of goes into my data bank. And so this contractor that does our lawns, a bill showed up for a fall cleanup. And Mr. Sensor Thinky, who's already like tense, A-type anyway, he kind of jumped to conclusions, because he always thinks people are out to screw him. Now, that's not just his type. Although when you look up the type, it'll say that they're cynical, and they think the worst all the time. They're just, I forget some of the other words they use, but it is also his personality. And then having dealt with contractors so long, he's just done. So here's this $100 bill for a fall cleanup, and it's a postage stamp of a property. And I also maintain that. I had just cut trees and things. This is part of my work. And he goes, "Did you ask for this?" And I'm like, "No." And then he just put it on the side of his desk, because usually he's angry at first, and then I don't know if he was probably going to call him, and he comes down, he's always nice. I kind of want to handle things immediately, and he's actually helped me rein in my emotion, which I think is this, right? The feeling part of us. And because of this, I think the combination of that is many people will say is quite a bit of intelligence. So what happens in that type of situation, okay, bill comes in $100, and it wouldn't even be anything we could have seen. The wind blows the leaves off that property anyway. No one asked for it. He just mows the lawn. He's not welcome to do that. And my husband comes from a position of, oh, now I have to pay it, and then I'm going to be angry. And I come from a position of, well, first of all, I'm definitely not paying it. It's just, how am I going to play this? Because if I were to contact that person or see that person, it all would have come out of me. All of my thoughts would have just barreled out of me at that person. So it's always good that I don't act first. But then it still goes on from there, because I'm thinking about it every day, all right? So now like 3 days have gone by, and I'm actually at the property, the postage stamp. And here it is. It's only 10 days after the man dated the invoice. And I look in the backyard, and there's still trash that a bear dragged from the garbage. All right, that's been there for like a month. I've been too lazy to pick it up. And then there's a pile of leaves on the postage stamp of the property. And it just, I couldn't even imagine what he was trying to charge us even for. So I took pictures of what I'm telling you. And then I cut all of our trees. Like I maintain that stuff, so I don't really know what he would be doing over there. And my first instinct is to come out guns blazing. And I'm sorry I took so long to get to this point, but there was a story behind it, and I like to tell them. So my first instinct is to come out blazing, because my brain, in an instant where my husband is upset because he thinks he has to pay a bill and he's taking it personal and all that, I'm instantly thinking about why this is incorrect. And it's like I'm building a case. I always say that. I don't know if you guys say that. Have you ever said I would have made a great lawyer? Or are you a great lawyer? Because there's just if I'm accurate, you can't think a thought I haven't thought of, So I try not to jump to the conclusions that Mr. Sensor think he did. He thought the guy was just like taking advantage of him and trying to sock him with a bill. And I said, no, this man is not that intelligent. Can't you see there's not much going on behind his eyes? And then here I am telling an ISTJ this. No, he's not doing what I'm doing, but I'm confident in my ability to read people. I could tell this man is not a calculating man, this contractor. He's just, what can I say? I don't know how to put it any other way without stereotyping. Just not a lot going on back there. So I was ready with my information and my pictures, and I was a little upset. And then I took a couple of days to calm down, because most people don't pay bills the first day they get them anyway. And I thought, okay, Beth, let's not say anything extra, because this is new for me. Usually I will overload my case and I act like I am winning this case. I have my files of evidence. I don't know if you can relate right now or I just sound like a jerk. But if I know that I'm accurate, I don't really care for the word right, because that's just an opinion, But if I'm accurate about what's went down and my position in there, I'm not paying that bill, you know what I'm saying? So I have all my evidence, and then I'm ready to attack, as if $100 could even be found of value that he had done over there if he even tried to push it. But he didn't, So I really reined it in. I only said what was necessary, and I just typed him, and I said, neither of us purchased this. We just get the lawn cut. And I left it at that. So rather than, if it was a tennis match, rather than take all my balls of evidence and just chuck them over there at the person, which is what I've done most of my life. In my younger years, I did it all the time. And then they kind of stand there beaten up by all these balls because they weren't doing anything. They're really not. I was giving them too much credit is what I was trying to say. A lot of these people in my life. So all they did was just stand there and get hit by balls that weren't necessary when I could have made my point with one ball. So me just saying we didn't buy this was me hitting one ball and then waiting on my side to see how they were going to react. You know what I mean? And some of this is personal. Some of this is, again, we have different pasts and things. But I think the INFJ part, it's the intelligence and the confidence of our intuition to really know what's up most of the time. And then there's just the danger of how do we handle it, to live in polite society. Just hop all over people that are completely unprepared, unsuspecting, and can't even handle the energy of us being accurate and just pummeling them with that. So I said my one line, and then he said his line back, and this is in typing. He said, "Oh, well, I assume because your neighbors got the lawn done and they got a fall cleanup that you would want one." Okay, so that's fine. However your brain is adding up facts, I'm not really here to judge you. You're running your business however you want. But I just typed back, "We just share a driveway with them." And then I ended it. And then I did finish with, "Check with us next year. We might not own the house because we might sell that." And I don't want him making more assumptions and just doing the work of cutting the lawn next year too without checking with me, because it seems kind of like that's the way he's going. So my husband was right in that regard. He actually has pretty good intuition himself. His sensing is 25%. So, but I'll see him use his intuition, and I really enjoy that. And I like to think that I help rub off on him, because he'll pause, and I'll watch him like he's waiting for information on the inside. I don't even think he knows what he's doing or cares. He definitely doesn't care. But I like seeing it. I like seeing anybody that will check back in with themselves, right? What else can you count on? So he'll look back for those answers. And he was kind of right. The guy was being negligent, but it was not malicious. And that's where, I was accurate about my reading, is there's just not a lot of intelligence going on back there. Yeah, so he wasn't doing it on purpose. He wasn't making assumptions, but that's not my problem. And obviously I'm not paying it. That's not really the point. The point is I was going to come out with guns blazing, and you forget, I think you may forget how smart you are. Remember how intelligent you are. And then sometimes when you're arguing with people, it's they don't even have a shield to, you're just this giant creature that knows so much more than they do. And the way we kind of come at them, I've been called lots of things, mostly intense. Like people that love me, they're not going to say, anything rude, but they'll say I'm intense. But that's why, because everything's getting added up super quickly in my head. I feel like it doesn't even take a second for me to kind of read all the information, look at everything that's ever happened with that person and make all kinds of connections. This is what we're known for. This is who we are. So don't use all your ammunition at once. That's my message. And if you know that, maybe you checked out of this video by this point. But the contractor thing, it's like an ongoing thing with me. It's funny because when I think of being irritated, I'll remember all the other times I was irritated with contractors. So don't do that. Like, that's the law of attraction. You're really not supposed to focus on things that you don't like, because your brain will start serving up the same. And then now you're pushing that out. That's your new vibe of being, is whatever you're thinking and feeling. It's the thinking triggers, the feeling is the being, and it'll kind of reverberate out. Like you don't want that. So I try to turn it positive by making this video, and laughing a lot. All right, so that's my little message about contractors, and I hope you guys have a really nice day. And I don't know what I'll think up next. I enjoyed those memes. Those were lighthearted and fun for me. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.